Let's go. What is up, Mind Buzz Universe? Welcome back to another podcast episode of the Mind Buzz. I am Gil, your host, and working the board this evening, this morning, this afternoon, whenever you're listening to this podcast, is the lovely Amber. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
What's going on?
Not much. I'm good, actually. Today.
What's happening?
Nothing. I got a little nap in.
Got your nap in. We got some Chinese food in us.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
Yeah.
Life's good.
Although I was almost ready to risk it and be like, I don't want to wake up.
You don't want to wake up?
Because you know how when I tell you I need a nap,
Sure.
it's like a 2-hour.
Yeah.
I can't do the whole 30-minute, 45.
Right.
I'd rather not. So I almost was like, I'm just not going to nap. And then I was like, no, I'm going to be grumpy.
So you rather risk not taking a nap
Yeah.
because you can't do it for like 5 hours? So
Yes.
you decide to
Absolutely.
not? And
Mm-hmm. So if I can't sleep for an hour and a half or more, I just
that's
rather not. That's my cap. That's
That's
my
your
like
cap
low
hour.
bottom. Like, oh,
that's lowballing it.
yep.
I respect that.
Thank you.
That is awesome. Do you have any
Do I have any shows coming up? No, I
Yeah.
don't have any shows coming up.
Oh yeah. You know what? Let's get into go for it. Let's get into today's episode.
What's up? Sorry I'm late.
Somebody's big back is
I know.
covering me.
We haven't started.
Well, you can hear
I'm sorry?
No, well you can hear it. We're just opening right now.
my God, okay.
You can
Let
hear
me shut up.
he was fee-fi foaming down the Did you hear it? It was like boom, boom.
I couldn't hear. I have my headphones on. But that's how I sound too.
Yeah, that's true. Let's get into today's podcast episode. He's a very funny man. He's been in the comedy world universe for about 28 years. He does classes. He's an actor. He's a writer. He's a stand-up comic. Please give it for Charles Sanchez. Ladies and
I
gentlemen.
love that dude, man. I love that dude.
And then, of course, the lovely Ricky Novella is joining us today.
Thicky Ricky.
What is that dude doing
I
here?
know. Why am I here?
Just
That's
kidding.
my brother right
I was
there.
on Mexican time today, dude. So
Yeah?
yeah.
What's going on, Charles? Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate
Kinda
it,
badass.
dude.
I got to see all the clowns and stuff and the
Yeah.
paintings, man. It's awesome, man.
You were telling me about he's an artist and a clown.
He's a comedian.
He's a comedian. Okay,
Right.
got it.
He was a comedian in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
What was his
even
name?
Red Skelton.
Red Skeleton.
Yes. And
Skeleton. Skeleton. Can you
Yeah.
look him up?
Sounds
I wanna
like
see his stuff.
skeleton, but it's
Yeah.
Skelton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Red Skelton, hilarious. He's famous
Yeah.
for doing characters in his act, like me. And his character, he used to do this like drunk dude,
Oh, okay.
right? But people used to think that he was just kind of one-sided, oh, he does characters, whatever. But he was also an amazing artist, self-taught, right? And so he he taught himself all to, just doodling.
Right.
At first, and then started doing paintings on his off time. So when he was doing gigs, he would just do paintings, but his common theme was clowns.
Oh, that's cool.
So these famous paintings
Oh,
of
look here.
clowns, man, and some of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I've seen those before. I've
That's-
seen those
that's Red
around.
Skelton's self-portrait.
Oh, that's a self-portrait.
Yeah.
I have an uncle that looks like that, dude. Honestly.
Yeah, I think we all,
yeah, with the 5 o'clock shadow and everything.
all our uncles. We have at least one. You kind of look like that, Ricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the look
Sneak
you're
the
going to,
nose,
huh?
sneak the
Yeah.
nose, yeah. And the top hat.
Show
Yeah.
a picture of his back. If it's really hairy, then that's,
Oh,
I legit just trimmed it yesterday, so
that's wild to me. Ricky, for those of you who don't know, that Ricky was a student of mine in one of my classes and stuff, and I always told him, "You don't belong here, dude. You're already there." You know what I mean? But It was great to have you, man, in class and stuff. But he he told the story about the back hair and stuff like that, and I said that's hilarious.
It's true. It's really legit true. I had my mom shave my back hair yesterday, and she's like, "Where the fuck does all this hair come from?" And I'm like, "You, my dad." But honestly, I've took 2 classes before. I took one all the way in Temecula because I was like, "This is the cheapest class." I was driving to Temecula for like 4 Sundays in a row, and then we had the showcase. The showcase was awesome, but the difference between Charles's class and the other class I took, Charles really cares. He really cares. He really wants to put these comedians or new comedians like up for success, and it's a big difference because the first instructor that I have, his big problem was like, your material has to be true. There can be no lies in it. There can be no twists or anything like that.
I disagree.
And Charles let everybody's art be free.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, like even like some of the people that came out to check out the show, they're like, man, you can tell this guy really cares about his students.
Yeah.
You put a lot of time and effort and just little things like the diploma, the T-shirts.
Yeah, thank you, man.
And
everybody's got a dream. You know what I mean? And I'm not a dream killer. Because I've taken classes too, but I took classes back in the 80s, right? When I right out of high school. I took a dude named Greg Dean. I took his class. He's famous now. He's like a multimillionaire for teaching stand-up comedy classes, and he was never a stand-up comic. He was a juggler at some Renaissance fair. That was his only like claim to fame of comedy was that. But he figured out a formula, and that formula sold. You know what I mean? Whoa. So, anyways, back then he was that guy. There was no, why would you do that? Why, So I always said, man, one day if I ever teach, then I'm not going to be a dream killer. So if people have dreams, man, and I've worked with other comics before. When I started off on my own, I worked at the Ice House in Pasadena. So I taught classes there, and I brought a comic in, and he was just ruthless. He'd go, that's not funny. You're not funny. He would tell, and I would have to pull him to the side. Go, dude, come on, man.
Wait, he was in your class?
No, he was helping me out.
Oh.
He had a big name at the time, and that club loved him. That club, so I brought him in for the name recognition, get more students, whatever.
Of course.
And my whole focus was just to teach these new impressionable people, comics, man. So did that, and then, but he was just ruthless. That's not funny. You're not funny.
damn.
So I was like, no, I can't have him. So I broke ties with him.
Especially like starting off too, like if you don't really know and like you're like investing this money and someone's being like, you're not funny or that's not funny, it kills your ego.
Of course
honestly.
it does.
It kills your ego a lot. And your class was very encouraging. I think maybe because also the group of people that we had as students and also your assistants were great as well.
Yeah.
So like I think it was a very, very fun class.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's what I was going for. Because I don't look, I want young comedians that are starting out or people that want the dream of being a comic to fall in love with it first. Yeah. Right? I don't want them to hate it. And if you're going, no, it's not funny, what are you going to do? What? That's not true.
Yeah.
That's such bullshit, man. I can't believe somebody would say that. Like, it's got to be true from his perspective, maybe. Maybe that's how he was taught. But what I did is I got all the old mentors that I had. Yeah. People that helped me along the way and went, from this guy, I like this much. And from that guy, a little bit of this. So I kind of took it all and made it my own.
But what was do you remember what his theory was on everything has to be true?
On that time, there was a famous comedian.
That's just strange.
It was a famous comedian. He was an Indian famous comedian. I think he's like in TV still and stuff. And I guess he had just released a special. And his special was like based on lies. So he based like about like him getting like beat up by racism and
right.
So he tried to get empathy. So at that time, he was like, no, it has to be true. It has to be true.
Yeah.
But
That's
he
weird.
had an argument with one of my classmates. That classmate ended up saying like, well, fucking give me my money back then, dude.
Right.
If you think that everything has to be true, like, because I don't
Right.
think that's
No,
right.
man. We
Because
don't.
I like to lie. I'm a liar. So
That's I said one day I'm gonna produce another album, right? A CD or whatever, right? A special. I'm gonna call it "Fucking Liar."
Yeah.
You know, because all this stuff, man. You
Yeah.
see, it's like baseline truth,
Right.
But it's my spin on it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, the whole, because I do characters in
Yeah.
Mac, you know, it's like
From-
gay cholo and all that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
From what I've heard that there in some of the formulas that I've looked up, that I've read, there's in the specific I guess theory of like joke structure, in a joke there's the truth, but then there's also like an elaborated filter, what you say on top of what that truth is. And it's like the I don't know, like you can't tell like to everything in a joke be 100% is just, that's
bullshit.
It's nonsense.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
Nonsense.
Man, we should give this guy's name, man, so we can shout him. No, I'm kidding.
And I think it's a bigger company too. I think it's multiple comedians that like kind of take turns.
It's too
teaching.
bad.
Maybe it's just him,
too
because
bad.
I don't.
Dude, because look
Yeah.
if we all did truths, right? Let's say
Yeah.
that is his gospel, right? That it's everything has to be true. It's boring comedy, man.
Yeah, I
Right.
think, and
You
I
know
think
what?
people would be like, "Oh man, I feel bad for this person if this happened to them in real life."
But
you know?
even if, let's say that a joke is true, right? It's something that somebody lived or whatever, but it'll never be 100% the way that it happened. Like
No.
there's no way
No.
that
Yeah.
that can
So true.
that
Yeah.
you
So
can
true.
go and perform. Okay, I fell off a staircase. Like if you explain to someone that you fell off a staircase, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's funny," but how do you make that an act? You have
how
to
do you make it
embellish.
funny? And that's why,
Exactly.
for me, it's like some of the premises that I've heard in classes. That's what we call them, the idea, right, of the joke is called a premise.
Right.
And the premises that some students have pitched, I've literally said, yeah, that's funny. That could be a joke. And they're like, but that's like, half truth, and then the rest is all lie. And I'm like, great. Perfect. Like, because if that was true, like,
Yeah.
like, man, talk about a boring set.
Yeah.
I went to the bank and I withdrew money, and I only had $25 in there, and I withdrew $20. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, but if you're doing it like in that style, in that tone, having the one or two impossible, at least one impossible thing in your act, that's what makes it funny, because
Yes.
it contrasts that
True,
style.
if that's your style, yes. If that's your style, because there's a lot of comics that we know, right?
Yeah.
That literally are like, "Hey, man, I was doing this," and that's just their delivery.
Yeah.
Right.
The way they deliver the joke, and you're like, "That's hilarious."
Yeah.
Stephen Wright, man.
I was just gonna
was
say,
the
Steve.
king
Yeah.
of,
When you did that,
deadpan.
when you did that cadence,
cadence,
I was like, "That's
yeah.
Stephen Wright. He's doing Stephen Wright
Stephen
right
Wright,
now."
man. Favorite joke. He goes, "I went to an all-night diner. It was 24 hours. And it says, have breakfast anytime. So I ordered French toast during the Renaissance." Hilarious, man. Hilarious.
Yeah.
That dude cracks me up. In fact, what I do now, right, because I'm all technical and stuff, is
Yeah.
that I now show clips of different styles of comedy.
Oh, that's cool.
So I show these to the new students, right, to say, what is your style? And then I ask them, what do you think? They're like, you know what? I'm a little bit of self-deprecating, but I'm also a little bit of deadpan. And some will say, oh, I'm more like self-deprecating, and then with a little bit of characters. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? And it gives you like a great base, right? To go,
Yeah, of course.
I've seen it all now from these greats, right, in my mind. And you go, yeah, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Yeah, that's me.
Right.
That's me. That's my sense of humor.
Yeah, Well, you've been around a lot of new comics. Do you think that it's healthy for them to watch who they admire and not necessarily take their act or
Right.
but to kind of like what you're doing, right? You're showing them, hey, like where do you see yourself? Like what type of act do you I guess it's not more of a question, but it's
know what you
just
mean.
it's
I know
just
exactly what you mean.
you know what I
Right.
mean? Like it helps because at the beginning when you're starting, you don't know who you are. Like
Right.
you just want to know you want to
Something's
you know
gotta
you
give
wanna
you
do
that
stamp.
spark,
Right.
Like I forget what comic you saw, and you were like, I could do that.
And it was like multiple comics. It was when I saw Joey Diaz. It's when I saw Adam Ray, Chris Stefano. Like when I saw them do it, I'm like, dude, I can do it.
So I had
can
this
do it.
cat. So I worked with
He does.
Uncle Joey, man,
Dude,
million
yeah.
times. You know.
You do a good Joey
Yeah, he does.
Diaz.
If you got this clip on Amonos, you can see the latest clip that I posted. And that I don't know, and I think what also kind of is hard too when like you do first start off and you're like watching the comics that like you look up to, you kind of start taking like kind of their
That's
style,
why I
you
always
know?
Yeah.
say to new comics
Just a little bit.
is that don't get indoctrinated. Don't like watch them and then you become them. Because I know a comic loves Bill Burr, and then he was just starting out, right?
Is he Mexican?
Yeah.
A Mexican Bill Burr.
Yeah. And this dude, man, seriously, he's hilarious, man. Because he's a recovering addict. He's got like 15 years clean and sober, right? And he would tell me these great stories about his drug life. And I'd go, dude, it's hilarious. Stick with that. But he started getting into Bill Burr, and he, for some reason, he would go up on open mics, and he would kind of sound like him.
Yeah.
And I told him, stop watching Bill Burr. Because that's what happens. You start to get a little bit more kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, famous, man. You could look up, Charles Sanchez the first time on stage. And there's a little bit of Richard Pryor, who is my God, And so there's a little bit of Richard Pryor in there in my jokes, you know what I mean? But it was something that I found out on my own. I was like, oh my God, I'm starting to sound a little bit like that. So you got to be careful. That's my suggestion only.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Suggestion only. That's like a big. Even in your everyday life now, I'll be like suggestion only. Yeah. Because
Tell them what that means.
Because like it's a suggestion. Like if it's a note that you want to give to somebody, a lot of comics when you try to give them a note, right? They kind of either take offense to it or like they blow you off. So you always say suggestion only because it's
That's what I say in class. So I tell them suggestion only because that's all it is. And I kind of set it up in the beginning and say, look, I'm not the end all be all. I'm not that super comic.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm a working comic. I'm just a guy who's been in the game for a long time and knows the ins and outs, the positives and the negatives, what to do right, what to do wrong, that kind of thing. And I'm passing this on to you. But the one thing I learned, because years ago, when I started out, 15 years ago teaching, I go, all right, here's what I think you should do. And then I would get that. I'd get the, all right.
I guess.
Yeah, people would be like, okay, and take it literally. So now I've coined the phrase, suggestion only, right? Because that's all it is. You could take it and use it, or you can go, nah, it doesn't fit me. And that's great. It's just a suggestion from an old school comic, working comic that goes, hey, man, this is what I've seen, and that may not work for you.
Right.
Or you're on the right track, man, and yes, that'll work for you. That kind of thing. So, suggestion only.
Okay.
It works in life, too.
No, bro, it
Seriously,
does. It really does. I like when Gil and I give each other like notes or maybe we should do this. Like we have two different styles of comedy, like completely different. So sometimes when I give him a note, he's just like, I'm not gonna fucking do it, dude. And then he like thinks about it, and then he'll do it, and he's like, okay, it worked, or you know what, it fucking sucked. I'm not listening to you again. You know. So,
Well, it happens. Like I think just like when it comes to like jokes, yeah, it can go both ways, but also like phrasing stuff and hey, you should try it like this. That's where it gets a little bit like harder because like what Ricky said, him and I we're night and day. We have two different
styles of sense of humor. Yeah.
Well, our senses of humors are the same, but our deliveries are completely different.
You know what's weird? One thing that I do in class too, and Ricky will attest to this. I literally will go, is it okay if we get feedback from the class, right?
Yeah.
And then people will go, yeah, cool. 99% of them will go, yes, you know. And then someone with Ricky's style of humor, and let's say there's someone like a Stephen Wright kind of deadpan humor student, he'll suggest something and they'll go, yeah, that could work. Or they go, nah. Like they won't say it to him and go, no.
But in their mind,
you have no
like,
idea what you're talking
what the
about.
fuck?
You know, exactly.
I also feel like with like giving advice, right? Like, well, you're a teacher, so you know there's a different level of respect when you're teaching and you're trying to have a teachable moment. But I feel like within peers, sometimes it can be taken as like, well, we're on the same level, we're on the same boat, right? And then I feel also like when it's someone's craft, and to have someone tell you, I didn't do too good, you can take it really personal, you know? But
it's true. And you have to be psychologist, psychiatrist as a teacher in comedy, because you have a lot of different personalities. People get, sensitivo on certain things, man. And you have to go, oh, okay. You could see it in their eyes, where you go, hey, do you ever want to try this?
Yeah.
Like going and talking about, you mentioned your car accident, right? And you thought it was so funny. But you think about that and they're like, no, I don't. You see it in the eyes. No, I don't want to talk about that. No, it was just too personal.
Yeah.
But you were laughing about it an hour ago. You know what I mean?
That's the risk you take, right?
It's true.
Like the last time Ricky gave me, typically I take suggestions from him, but I'm just like, maybe we'll see. I'll think about it. Yeah. But same with him. I'll give him when we were doing our shows, our open mic. I'd give him like, hey, try this joke on him, like after, or before you bring up the next person about the previous comic. Sometimes they'll work, sometimes they'll bomb, but that's just the risk
like,
you take.
That was Gil's idea.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Gil's idea. It was my idea. It was awesome. I know.
In my mind.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, look, a lot of the classes, because I took, back in the day, out of high school, I took 2 classes. And I go, this isn't for me. Like, I'm good.
Really?
I'm good.
Whoa.
Like, I've got the flavor of what they're teaching. And then figured I'd take the leap of faith and just do it on my own.
Mm. What do you like? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, no, you go.
No, you. You hang up first.
I know. You go first. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, man, it's like, and teachers that I've heard about and stuff, that's like a no-no to get these new students' opinions about what's going on. You know what I mean? With joke premises or ideas.
Wait,
like a lot of them.
Again?
In other words, to get the opinions from another student to another student. In other words, you're asking their opinion about a joke premise or an idea that we have, right?
Okay.
It's like with the other teachers that I've met, that's like a no-no. Yeah. Like because a lot of them have egos, man. The teachers that I met, guys that have taught classes, that their ego takes over, and they're the teacher. I'm going to teach you stand-up comedy my way, and I'm not like that, man. I'm like, let's discover, let's find out if that works. Great. That's why I get the opinions of these new, impressionable comics, man. The people that want to do this as a life, There's some people that do it bucket list, man. We had a dude that was 72 years old in class.
Oh, yeah, man.
And he was like, this is a bucket list, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a comic. And a lot of them don't, man. Believe it or not, people that come to my classes don't want to be a stand-up. Like, that's their life. They just want to try it. I had a woman, I think she was 73, the first class. And she was bucket list.
Do you get a lot of it?
She killed it.
Yeah?
She killed it that night. She almost got a standing ovation. A couple of people stood up like, yeah. That's how good she was.
Wow.
But see, that's the thing. It's like, there's different personalities, different ideas of comedy. And that's why I was at, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite comic? Oh, I like so-and-so. Then I have a general idea of where their mind is, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they're like, oh, Bill Burr is the best, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, Joey Diaz is my king, Felipe Esparza, or whatever, or Eddie Murphy. And then I get a general idea of how their thinking is.
Yeah.
Do you think that and answer truthfully?
Okay.
Because you're too nice.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is that I've had and I just want to address that real quick.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of heartache in comedy. I've seen the worst of people. A lot of them are dead now, dead comics, guys that I worked with that were just horrible, horrible people. And so I kind of made it my mission that in comedy and teaching comedy, I would try to be respectful.
Yeah,
I don't want to hurt any feelings, but it just became just a part of me.
But I think it works because people come to your class, they feel safe, they want to learn, and they're not scared to ask questions. Because that's the worst thing is when you have someone that's rigid and like this is the only way, and then you don't want to participate, you don't want to do anything.
True.
And
who in the world liked an asshole teacher?
Yeah, true.
But it's weird. Look, I'll give you something I've never said on a podcast ever. My day job for a long time was teaching customer service.
Oh shit!
So I would go to different, Fortune 500 companies and teach customer service to their people, right? And so it's like, one of the questions I would always ask is, "Hey, who was your, worst customer?" Oh, everybody has that worst customer story, and everyone had that worst teacher story or worst boss story. So those are the ones that stick in our head. Very seldom, oh, that nice guy, the guy that taught class. that nice comedy teacher, man. What was his name? But you're like 8th grade, Mrs. Ramos.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
I was going to ask, do you think that anyone could be, obviously anyone can go to your class and go up there, right? Like bucket list. But do you think like genuinely anyone can be a comic? Or do you think that there's there's people that are like, oh, I'm funny, or oh, my family tells me I'm funny, like I want to be a comic.
Right.
Like do you think that it's that easy to be a comic, or is there more like underlying things to being like a comic?
Yeah, good question. I get that all the time. If you ask the majority of the comics that are out there on the circuit right now, they'll say, you cannot teach stand-up comedy. And there are some people that have come into my classes that I'm like, yeah, this is not for them. But again, I'm not a dream killer.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I'll let it kind of play itself out. Because there's been comedians that, that I've met, I'm like, he's horrible. That are out on the, on television or, they're getting spots on Netflix specials. And I'm like, my God, he's so, or that I knew, that I worked with. And I'm like,
I feel like there's a lot of that right now.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've seen it, man. I go to open mics sometimes. I'm like, why would he talk about his hemorrhoids like that? It should all be truth, but damn.
Not all the way.
I know. But no, I don't think that everybody can be a comedian. But people that come to my classes and stuff, I try to give them hope. That's just me. It's just generally who I've always been. You know what I mean? So I let them try to find the dream. And if it's not there, it's not there. And they'll figure it out. Hey, this isn't working for me. You know what I mean? I went to an open mic and they threw apples at me or whatever. And you're like, yeah, maybe it's not for you.
I know.
So
I've heard of stories.
Apples are hard.
Yeah.
in the first class that I took, right? A lot of people had took that class again.
Oof.
Really?
Yeah, so there was like a few of them that took the class again. Oh, and another big thing why I think that class was kind of lame. They're like, don't go to open mics. Don't go to any open mics.
I encourage that. I'm like, yes, because you got to find your
We'll
voice.
teach you here. Open mics suck. Yes, which they fucking do suck.
Yeah, they suck.
But I was talking to some of the people. I'm like, have you guys been practicing? Oh, yeah, I've been practicing mirror. I'm like, no, but like, have you gone to open mics?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they told us not to. I'm like, no, you should. Like, you got to hear what's bad and what's good.
Yeah.
And compared to like his class, people were going to open mics. There's one particular student, I'm going to give her a shout out. Garin,
Yeah.
she got the bug fucking like this, dude.
Yeah.
After
she's out there now.
Yeah, she's out there now. She's doing shows. She's getting spots. She's hanging out with the comics. She hits me up from time to time and is like, hey, you know, like, where could I go to this mic? Or what do you think about this mic? What should I do next? Like, I don't know what to do. But she got the bug like crazy, man.
Yeah, because she had the talent from the get.
Yeah.
You know, Karen Lopez, man. Garin Lopez. Yeah, but she goes, everybody calls me Karen.
Yeah, everybody calls me Karen.
Perfect.
But yeah, dude, she was one of the students there, and there's still a few students in his class that I think are still doing comedy or doing mics. But as a comparison to the first one, I don't think anybody in that class that I took with is like continuing doing comedy.
Yeah, that's like me in rehab, man. Really, like I'm the only one that's still clean and sober after 32 years. Right when I first went into rehab, I remember there was people like I was like, "Oh, that dude's gonna make it, man." You know, they either died or they relapsed. But I was the only one that just went. This is my new life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, sorry.
Why do you think that? I mean, I guess stating the obvious. I'm not a comedian, but I go where
Amber's
they
not
go.
a comedian.
I'm with one.
Yeah. Amber's not a comedian, but she's funny as hell.
Yeah, she is funny.
Thank you.
I met her before the show.
But I see that there's, I mean, obviously, without stating the obvious, that a lot of like open mics or shows are in bars and things like that. But why do you think that there's a correlation between like alcohol, substance abuse, and like the nightlife of performing? Like,
I'm gonna
is
say
it nerves?
Yeah.
Like what?
I'm gonna say this, man, and a lot of comics out there that watch this, you know, your cast are gonna go, "Who the fuck does he think he is?" A lot of us, I'm looking in the camera too. A lot of us are wounded people, and the majority of us that do stand up, where that's our therapy in a sense, right? But the woundedness will come out. And if you're an alcoholic, it'll be exacerbated. It'll be more intensified. If you're an alcoholic, come out. You know, if you're a womanizer, it'll come out. You know, a lot of these comics today, man, and this is going to get me in trouble, but a lot of them that I know that are working comics now, that are someone big time, they're substance abusers, you know, or they're womanizers. They're married, and I meet their wives, and then we go on shows, and you're like, they're with that girl and stuff like that. So I think the ones that get to the fame part, that get the golden ticket, get to go. I mean, that just everything comes out of who you truly are. It comes out. You know what I mean? But to answer the question, they're wounded already. I think a lot of us are in comedy. There's some famous comics that go, no, we're not wounded, but they're wounded. You hear their stories. My dad didn't like me. They write books. Steve Martin, you know, he was one of those that said, no, you know, I think it's just us, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, his book was about his father not even caring about him, you know.
Right.
Born Standing Up, it's called.
Yeah.
It's a
great book. Great book.
I suggest books to my students.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's one called, we call it the Comedy Bible, but it's not.
Right there.
Yeah, well, actually.
That one, or is there a different one?
Not Judy Carter.
Not Judy Carter's?
Right, no. It's by Franklin Ajayi.
Okay.
And I'm reading it now, and this is like the 20th time I've read it.
When was it written?
It was written in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you pull it up?
Franklin Ajayi. It's called Comic Insights.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just heard that on another podcast.
When I was starting on comedy, and this is truth. Out of high school, I started doing stand-up comedy.
Can you order it too?
And then divorce happened and addiction started happening, and I quit comedy. And I was like, there's no funny left in me, right? I was drowning everything.
Is this it?
And I'm doing this on camera. I was drowning everything. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Comic Insights, man. Please read this book if you would, because he breaks it down to the minute points of everything. He's got the third eye method where you're basically outside observing the audience, right? And that's why I always tell my students, man, you got to go early. Watch the host. If he says, yeah, and da 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 about politics, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And he does another joke, it doesn't work. Do not do politic jokes. If he says, yeah, women, this and that, and then there's a whole group of women in the audience, don't do women jokes because it's not working. Or he says, hey, da da da, about drinking, and everybody claps and goes crazy. Hey, weed, da 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 da, and it kills. Then if you have some of those in your arsenal, throw them out there. You know what I mean? So you have to be observant. So he Franklin Ajayi, man, he breaks it down. Have you either of you three ever seen the movie Car Wash, the original Car Wash in the 70s? Watch it. Watch it. Because there's famous comics in there that are in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Native American comics, Latino comics, everything. And in there, Franklin Ajayi plays this guy who is like, before anime, he was like really into cartoons and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
in the
this
show,
one.
right? Yeah. The original Car Wash with Richard Pryor. And Franklin Ajayi is in there. And he's an artist that draws cartoons. And he basically talks about, calls himself the Fly. That's him right there. So here's what I loved about his book, brother. True comic. Took that little bit of fame and then, got tours and stuff and worked with famous comics, but never made it big time as a comedian. But the experiences that he learned along the way, he puts in the book.
Oh, that's
and it's
cool.
a great guide for new comics. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
always recommending books. Richard Pryor.
I just finished Black is the New White by his name is escaping me, but I've been talking about him. Paul Mooney. Yeah.
Yes, I worked with Paul Mooney.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I did. Charles, look, quit comedy now. Look, brother. Yeah. Famous story, man. Comedy store, right? I used to hang out there in the late 90s. And I was getting ready to do the main room. And I got a nudge, and it was the guy, the host. His name was Skippy Lowe. It's a long story, but Skip E. Lowe, Lowe. Look him up. And Skippy goes, hey, Charles, look, I'm going to put on this unknown comic. He was joking with me. And he goes, he's just going to do a few minutes, and then he's going to get off. He's going to do something else, and then he's going to do that. And I go, yeah, no problem. Because I was next, right? It was like close to the end. Like I was 8th in line of 10 comics, right?
Oh, okay.
So I was like, what's he going to do? And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, please, he needs no introduction. Please give it up for Mr. Paul Mooney. And I was like, what the like, what? Like that. And then 2 hours later, Paul's winding down, right? And that guy, Skippy Lowe, Charles, so you're going to go up next. Then we're going to put Byron, and then Johnny. We're going to put Johnny up. And so I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. He was like, no, you won't get paid. And I was like, okay. I had to follow Paul Mooney as a young comic, man. I'm like, oh, how's it going? But that was a great experience. But Paul Mooney gets off stage because the guy had to go up and introduce me. He gets off stage and he's praising Paul Mooney. What a great standing ovation! And everything like that.
Oh man,
It's one of my very few times doing the main room. So he goes. Yes, he goes, oh, amazing. Oh, my God, Paul Mooney, everybody. Oh, this just like that. So he's doing that stuff. And Paul Mooney goes, I think you'll do okay. No, really. just go up there, brother, and just
Yeah.
have fun. And I'm like, fuck, you just killed it. Like
Yeah.
that. He was like, hey, welcome to comedy. And I was like, thank you. But I knew who Paul Mooney was. He was
Yeah.
a writer for Richard Pryor. They were
Right.
good friends. You know, the story
Yeah.
how they met, that he wanted to, you know, screw
Yeah, he wanted to have
Paul's
a
girlfriend, Paul's
threesome
sister,
with them.
His sister.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but Richard Pryor's bisexuality, man, it's everywhere on the internet. And
Yeah.
so you'll read famous stories of them, you know. But yeah, Paul Mooney.
Yeah, such a great person in comedy. Like,
Yeah. Truth teller, man.
Right,
Talk about
exactly.
truth.
That's what I was telling Ricky. I was like, dude, because you asked me if Richard's comedy was kind of like Paul's, and I was like, well, his comedy is like really like very raw, and it's just truthful, and it's history.
Yes.
And
Homie the Clown.
Yeah.
On Mad TV came from him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the other character, the Nostradamus character.
Oh yeah. We were talking about that too last week. Yeah.
Negrodamus. Yeah.
Oh,
But Paul Mooney he came up with the idea of Mudbone, which is famous Richard Pryor stuff, right? And Richard Pryor would do an old black man, and he would go, yeah, so many times I was up here, and when I go down to Louisiana, and he would do that, but that came from Paul Mooney.
Right.
So people don't know. There was so many, like, if you ever listen to Richard Pryor, his characters and everything, and there's always a bit of truth in there. But Paul Mooney, like when you hear certain punchlines of Richard Pryor, and you're like, wow, that went a little bit right more than what Richard would say, right? That's Paul Mooney's. You know, Richard, say this. Richard could do this.
That is so good.
Yeah. But it's too funny, man, because
you should have read his book. That would have been awesome. Because his audio book it's not read by him; it's read by another person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul Mooney's book.
Yeah, Paul Mooney's book.
Yeah.
Black is the
Wow.
new white. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah,
it's
man,
great.
that dude. You know, and he would always say all the time in interviews and things like that, Hollywood doesn't want me. He did that.
Yeah.
They don't want, you know, I'm too tough for Hollywood. It's so true, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he would not play the bullshit.
And he's been Pryor and Mooney have been in Hollywood they were in Hollywood for a very long time.
Yeah.
Very long time.
True.
I didn't even know he played Sam Cooke in the Buddy Holly story.
Yeah.
That was crazy to me too. Once I heard it in the book, I Google searched his scene in the movie, like on Google.
He and Richard Pryor were
They
writers.
look really similar too. If you look it up, look up Sam Cooke and Paul Mooney.
Yeah, he played. He's amazing, man. But look at some of the best acting I've ever seen in movies have been done by stand-up comics.
Absolutely.
I have seen like Robin Williams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like amazing. Good Will Hunting and the other one. In that one movie.
That's a great one.
Yeah. He's amazing. But
You see them? Like
Yeah.
identical. I mean, I think they look very, very similar.
Yeah. That's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
There's some, there's everybody's talking about that biopic of Richard Pryor, and who's going to play Richard Pryor.
So
stuff like that.
there's a movie coming out,
There was always a movie coming out. Ever since Richard died, there was always a movie. It was always in works.
Right.
Like, before he died,
Oh,
they would
okay.
talk about. That's why I said, man. With the little, give us the story about you, Charles, or whatever it is. I got to work with some of the greats. They did a CD release party for Richard Pryor before he died, and I was there at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. And I'll tell you, man, all the famous comics were there. And I was like, damn, how did I get so lucky, man? I got lucky. I just right place at the right time. But I'm trying to say is that Richard Pryor, when he started out, right, He was like a writer for. I'm aging myself now. There was a guy named Flip Wilson. Anybody? Flip Wilson.
I heard the name.
Flip Wilson. Right. He's what what's his name? Wayne Brady is today. So Flip Wilson was that guy who could cross over and do other stuff. Yeah. No, he's pansexual.
Sorry.
He calls himself pan.
Sorry, I had to.
But yeah, and there was always stories about Flip Wilson too, about that too, about being bisexual and all that kind of stuff. But Flip Wilson, he was a writer for him. So Flip Wilson was huge in the 60s. And he was one of the very few black men to have their own television show. Him and Nat King Cole in the 50s had his own television show. And then in the 60s, it was Flip Wilson. He dominated it. Huge show. You know what I mean? But Richard Pryor was a writer for him. He was a joke writer. So he'd go up there and do a monologue. Hey, what's going on? And so, watch Flip Wilson if you get a chance.
I'll check him out. It's so crazy to see comics like back in the like mid 60s to late 60s. Like Richard Pryor's like look, act was completely different than what we knew him in the 70s and 80s. Same thing with George Carlin. Like they completely
metamorphosis,
like, right?
They totally changed who they were.
He even lost some, like George Carlin. I read that he lost a lot of his audience from growing out his hair, growing out a beard, changing, looking like a hippie. Because people were used to him clean cut, suit, tie on the other shows.
People don't give enough credit to Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce.
Well, they were both there, right? They were both there.
Exactly. They were in those same rooms.
Right.
But Lenny Bruce had this voice of the people. But he was the one that obscenity laws and all that kind of stuff that they want to kill him over. You know, and basically, if you think about it, they did kill him over it. Yeah. Because he was the one to give Richard Pryor the ability to say fuck on stage or talk about the different things on stage that he did, and George Carlin. And they would, throughout their careers, give credit to him. Yeah. Because, and then there was people like, sorry, man, I'm a fan and I'm a student of comedy. And I think sometimes, this is just me, to become a better comedian, you need to be a student. You need to be a fan. Never lose that, being a fan. You know what I mean? But study these old comics, man. Oh yeah. There was a guy named Lord Buckley. He was in the 40s. And Lord Buckley dealt with obscenity laws and stuff like that because he was the first one. And back in the 40s and stuff and the 50s, they'd have what they call a cabaret card, right? So to be a comedian, you'd have to have a card. And it's basically saying that you were going to abide by the laws. You're going to pay a due, right? It's like a AAA card or something like that. Something that gives you the right to go into a club and perform. It's like having an entertainment license. Can you imagine?
Can we bring that back, please?
Yeah. Can you imagine there'd be no comics? You're like, this open mic, so it's so empty. But Lord Buckley was one of the ones that tested the boundaries. And then after them was Lenny Bruce. Right. So it's like everybody went off the back of somebody else when it comes to stand-up. You know what I mean? I mean, there's guys to this day that hear Richard Pryor's act from the 70s and go, oh, man, it's hilarious. And he cusses and he says the N-word and stuff like that. But the characters that we were doing were rooted in his history of life. Yeah? So it's like all they heard was the words, the N-word and him saying motherfucker and all that kind of stuff. But it was deeper than that, right? And there's comics that still think that way. But if you're a student, then you see, wow, the social commentary, the stuff that he was talking about back in the 70s. What? Yeah. Because people don't know, man. He was straight-laced trying to be like Bill Cosby until the late 60s. And then there's a famous story, Vegas, sold-out crowd. I forget how many thousands, 10,000 people. Dean Martin, a couple of mafia dudes were in front. And he goes out and he started to do his Bill Cosby impression jokes. He looks down, he sees, Dean Martin, and he tells the audience, "I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore." And he walks off stage. They banned him from Vegas, everything. He took his money and everything. The story is that he left all of his possessions. Goes to San Francisco to Haight-Ashbury in 68, 69. That's when everything was exploding, right? Mm-hmm. All the stuff was happening. Goes there, learns about the Black Power movement, about the Black Panthers, and gets immersed in the culture. And that's what changes him. So same thing as Carlin. He sees that happening, reading stories in the newspaper. Richard Pryor's off the rails. He doesn't want to come back to comedy, not knowing that he's now, there's this metamorphosis happening, man. He now becomes the Richard Pryor we all know. But it took that change of because he's Vegas and New York and Chicago and all that stuff. He's doing shows out there. And he comes to Berkeley and changes his life forever and comedy, And think about if he would have said, "You know what? I like the money of Vegas." He could make $10,000 back then, $30,000 on a weekend back then. He's set for life.
Yeah.
But something in him, which I always tell comics, man, there's that gut. If this material's not working, try something else. If it's not affecting you in that way, or you go, "Yeah, this feels right." Like when I talk about my mom or whatever, "Yeah, this feels right." Mm-hmm. Yeah, then go with that. Stick with that. But if it's like a block and you could feel it in your gut, then switch directions.
Oh yeah.
And that's what Pryor did. Everything against what he was trying to be, he makes a right. And says, "I'm going to be truthful."
And then it was a risk for him too, because he felt that he didn't like what the trajectory that he was going.
True.
And I mean, he could have, I guess, sold out and just gave people what they wanted, but
right. And a lot of comics do.
Right. A
lot of the ones that are now coming up, They go with what the audience wants. That's what makes people like Bill Burr genius, because he's like, "No, this is me. This is what I'm going to say, and that's it." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And those dudes, man, I respect. That could just be the most truthful. You know what I mean? But with a twist.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He's not all truthful. It's like there's a twist. Who was it, man? And I can't think of his name. Maybe you guys know. There's a comic that talks about his first experience with a trans woman, and he's in that Bill Burr kind of. And he's a balding white dude, Bostonian.
Louis C.K.?
No.
Ricky Novella?
Ricky Novella? No. There was another guy too. He has a sandwich shop. He had an experience with the trans woman.
Sandwich shop?
Joe DeRosa? Was it Joe DeRosa?
No.
Because he on Skankfest, he had something like that. He got a hand job from a trans, and he was kind of like, "Oh, he's married to one, isn't he? Ian Edwards?
No,
not Ian Edwards. Sorry, not Ian Edwards. Fuck, what's his name?
But see what I mean? But his honesty is could be career ending.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things that we all know in our lives that we're like, if I ever said that, I'm done. Mm-hmm. Like if I ever talked about that on stage and trying to be real, you could end up gone.
He did mention one time in class, he's like, "I'm kind of worried about this person. I think he's gonna be too real." On stage.
I did. There's some comedians, man, that have come through my classes or that I've met or that I've mentored, that I go, okay, it's too much realism. It's all great, and like I always tell students in the beginning, you please try to stay away from rape jokes or molestation, because it's too triggering for audience members. You have no idea who's keeping that secret in the audience, and then that could be triggering to them. So as comics, I've always been taught that from back in the day, that those are the two topics you kind of want to stay away from.
I always say the story. Well, I've said it a couple times of one of the first times that when Gil was going out to do comedy, and they gave him a spot at this like little place, and there was a guy that went up on stage, and to me he wasn't doing comedy, but I guess and he
Therapy.
that's what his thing was like
Raw
rape
honesty?
and like him committing the act.
Oh, wow.
And it was very like, oh, and then people were like, oh, like, I think it puts everybody in a really like odd situation. And then there's another instance, I won't talk about that one, but there was something that was said that really like stuck with me. And when we left, I told Gil like, man, like, didn't anybody else not hear that? And because people laughed, but it's someone that people liked, and I felt like they were giving him the pass to that joke. But for me, I was like, this is like, and not that anything like that's ever happened to me, but it was just like, like no one's hearing this. And I still went home and I told Gil, I was like, that's so disgusting. Like
that's
just,
what I
like,
mean. There's sometimes that comics, they think, I've got to be raw, man. I've got to be honest. I've got to tell my whole life story about stuff
like,
that's happened
no,
to me.
you don't.
But you don't know if that subject can be triggering to somebody in the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that she still remembers that to this day.
I do because it made me feel like gross, and especially for the first guy, because he was insinuating that these were acts that he committed. Wow. And then I seen him get off stage, and then he kind of sat where I was, and then he went on a dating app, and he was like swiping through the dating app.
That's fucking crazy.
And it sounds kind of funny now, but if you think about it, I mean, me as a woman, I was like, you just went up there and you talked about, like putting yourself on a woman, and then here you are looking for a date. Like that was like scary.
That's
I was
rascal,
like,
man.
God.
That's nasty. That's nasty. But there's some people that have reached a certain level of fame, like Bobby Lee and his story.
Oh yeah,
about the girl
with in
Mexico.
TJ. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, but that's great PR, man.
I wonder if he's gonna put in a special.
Jesus Christ.
I hope not.
Yeah, because it's triggered so many men and women.
Yeah,
that it was like, what is wrong with you? I mean, there was so much backlash, but you know what? He's still going. I've worked with Bobby a bazillion times back in the day, and never heard that story. You know what I mean? But I'm sure it was later.
Yeah.
After I left the Comedy Store and stuff like that.
So, how did you fall into stand-up, Charles?
I was always an actor. Right? So like in elementary, middle school, high school, always an actor. So I would be in little plays where I'd play a tooth, whatever. And then when I was in high school, I was getting lead parts and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, this is my direction in life. I'm going to be an actor for the rest of my life. And then I got my girlfriend pregnant, and then and she eventually became my wife, and then we divorced right away. But I remember my acting teacher was like really pushing for me, like was going to do scholarships and everything to some college, and then it didn't happen. She was like, that's got to be your life now. And I'm like, oh my God, like I got to be a father, because it was in high school when this happened. So when I graduated in that December, that's when my son was born, right? So it was like, oh man, everything had changed. So then I did my little stint in junior college, and when I went to college, the professor took me to the side. He goes, Charles, you're a very good actor, but you'd be even a great comic if you decided to do stand-up comedy. And that was always my dream. So like I said, remember after high school, I went in and took a class. Well, that's how it all started. Him saying, you'd be a great comedian, man. So then I was like, what do I do? He's like, go to Hollywood. Like he had no clue either. And he goes, there's a paper called the Drama Log. but you have to go to Hollywood to buy that paper. And I was like, okay. So my mom drove me up there, got the paper, and in the back, it was like stand-up, small little ad. And it said stand-up comedy classes. And so that's what started it. But I took those classes and then said, yeah, I'm good. Like, I don't need that. I already feel it instinctively. What they're teaching, great foundation of what to do as a comic. But yeah. And then I was like, divorce, drug addiction, what's going on here? And then shortly after my small stint in the 80s, I stopped. And they didn't come back. I was clean and sober, probably 3 or 4 years. And I was working at the Ritz-Carlton as a manager, right? I was that typical dude, hilarious employee, right? He's the funny manager. That was me. And one of my employees goes, Mr. Sanchez, I know this guy, and he runs comedy rooms. I think you should do stand-up comedy. Not knowing that I had done it before.
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
And I go, really? You think so? Like, playing it off.
Little me.
She goes, yeah, go see this guy. So I went to go see him in San Gabriel, and he goes, yeah, kid, come back in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay. So I went back in 2 weeks, and then he goes, come back in 2 more weeks. So I came back in 2 more weeks, and then he goes, okay, so you done stand up before? And I go, yeah, I have. He goes, all right. I'll give you 3 minutes. That 3 minutes turned into 11, and I've got it on tape, right? And because my wife was in there, like with a undercover camera, and she's like filming me and shit with a big ass VHS cassette. Was like, like
The sound
I was
person.
nobody not gonna see that big ass camera and stuff. So he was like, "Whoa!" And I'm telling everyone was like, "You're killing it," and I was like, "What does that mean?" You're killing it, bro. You killed it, just like that. So I guess I killed it that night. And then that person was like, oh, man, let's take you off. And so that kind of led to other gigs and then meeting all the people and stuff like that. And rest is history. And then I couldn't give it up. I broke my back. In 2001, right? So there was the end of my hotel career. It was like 22 years in.
Whoa.
And then I couldn't work anymore. I couldn't, do the standing up for long periods. Anyways. So that was like, thanks a lot, God. It was my money, and then everything happened. I started doing military tours. So I'd go all over the world doing military tours for USO.
That's awesome.
AFE. If you ever get a chance, man, that's something you guys need to try.
AFE?
Yeah, AFE,
What is that?
Armed Forces Entertainment. That's what it's called. That's what AFE stands for. But it's great money, and you're out for like a month, and you're just going all these military bases all over the world and stuff. I've been everywhere. China, Japan.
Whoa.
All of Europe, all of Canada. Of every Caribbean,
What was one of your favorite places to do comedy out of the country? Or this country?
Dude, I went to a place and it felt like California. Yeah. There was even people there that were like Mexicans.
Nice.
But they weren't. They were like some other island. And to this day, I don't remember. But that was the Netherlands.
What?
So, yes, we have bases in the Netherlands, man. And it's like where all the top generals go and stuff. And they're like, all right, we're going to bomb this place and we're going to do this. Anyway, you know what I mean? But it felt like California. It was weird. And then I went to I had gone to, I think Pulp Fiction had just come out. I think. So I was like, yeah, let me go to the McDonald's to see if it's, Royale with cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese.
And stuff. And I went there. And I ordered that in Netherlands, the McDonald's, and it was the meter system, whatever, and the hamburgers were real small, and then the guy brings it out, and I go, hey, can I order another one? And I swear, everybody that worked there went, and in their language go, this fat motherfucker. Okay. But it was, but yeah, the Netherlands was my favorite part because the bases were like chill, because they weren't like, they're military, but they were like strategic military. Like they had a purpose. Like these were the guys that programmed the missiles. These are the guys that sent everybody to the cruise ships and all that, and the pilots. And so it was like Air Force, Army, Marines, Navy. They were all there. In fact, they would say, this is where everybody trains. And I remember there was beautiful greenery, like California. It was weird. But we got there and it was like they had created a whole desert. This was before, or before Iraq. So when I saw it, I was like, what is this desert? Mm-hmm. Not knowing that they were strategically planning to go to Iraq.
Oh shit!
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got
something
it.
like that. Like
they're preparing the terrain ready and preparing the
yes. That's
troops
why if you
for
pass
that.
by Camp Pendleton, it still looks like that.
Really?
Yes. If you go to Camp Pendleton and if you're heading towards San Diego,
That makes a lot of sense.
You look to the right, and it's all desert-ish. And I would notice, like, because I would do a lot of gigs in Arizona and El Central and places like that. And I would see the trucks change colors. They were all green at one time and then became like tan. And when the tan, I was like, oh, we're going to invade another place that's desert.
Charles is in on it before it ever happened.
Yeah, exactly. But I did Guantanamo Bay.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah. Remember when they were doing all the pictures of the naked dudes?
He was a photographer.
Yeah.
They were shocking.
The fluffer.
So remember they were taking the pictures of these guys, and they were like humiliating them.
Right.
They would be on bodies on top of bodies.
Yeah.
I did comedy on Guantanamo Bay during that time.
Oh shit!
And we, the comics, didn't know that all that was happening.
Oh wow.
So
they get all the bad comics and
yeah.
as another form of torture.
Yeah. How about this George Bush? Huh? But it was wild, dude, because I remember being in the mess hall, where everybody eats, and they were like, yeah, if you guys want, you can go and talk to the soldiers and invite them to the show. It's free for them. So this one comic goes over to this group of guys, and they were just somber, dude. They were like eating, not even talking. And he was like, "Hey guys, what's going on? Like, hey, we're gonna do a show tonight, like at 8:00. Dude, it's gonna be at the Krispy Kreme in the corner, and I just think it'd be great for you guys, And I was watching them, and they were like, just kind of nodded. Found out later that those were the guards for the prison.
Oh fuck!
So they're seeing all this debauchery, this craziness. This, they're probably being told to do that to them with the heavy metal music and stuff, and blasting, with strobe lights and stuff, trying to get information. Right? They're torturing them, waterboarding. So these are the guys that are responsible for that, and they're. And this guy's going, "Hey guys, why don't you come to the show tonight?" Like that, and they were like, "We've seen hell."
Yeah.
So
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you said this is like going back to what you're talking about. You said that like you stopped doing comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is like some advice that you can give to people that maybe sometimes are in a funk in comedy, or feel like hey, I need to take a break, or maybe mentally not. Still doing open mics and going to do comedy, but they're like not mentally there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what do you suggest for
I
comics like
think it's like sickness and work. You're sick, right? But you got to go to work. You know what I mean? When it gets really bad, you're vomiting and stuff, then you got to stay home. But if you could trudge through it, then trudge through it. Then, you know what I mean? So you're sick, but it's kind of like that kind of mentality. Where you're like, yeah, I don't feel funny. I don't want to be funny and stuff, but you have a goal, and you have to get to that goal, because you'll never get there if you keep going into your own head and going, never mind, no, next week. I did 2 open mics this week. I'm good. You know what I mean? But you're not chasing that goal. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%.
You know what I mean? But I just say, just keep going. The best time to do stand-up, right, is when you don't want to do it. That's when you go out and find an open mic. Or your buddy has a show and you want to get some time on his show. Then you go. That's when the magic happens. I've seen it 1,000 times in my career where I've gone, I don't want to do it, but so-and-so's having a show, because open mics weren't as prevalent as they are now. Now it's one every single day of the week. You might have to travel to downtown LA, but there's still an open mic that's, there's one every night. But back then it was like you'd have to get on somebody's show. You know what I mean? And hey, can I get a couple minutes? Or you have the juice, right? And then they go, hey, you want to do some time? So that's when you feel like you don't want to do it, go and do it. It's easier said than done, because like I said, a lot of us are unfortunately damaged people, man. A lot of us suffer from mental health issues. You know what I mean? A lot of comics that I've met throughout my career are suffering from mental health. And then that manifests in different ways. Like I said, the alcoholism, the drug addiction, the womanizing, the pornography, the whatever. So that all manifests in that way. You know what I mean? And sometimes it shows in their comedy, which gets a little bit darker and stuff. And you're like, whoa. So bringing down the show. It's not supposed to be fun, Charles.
It's because like it's for me. Like I after your class, I was still going. I was doing we got booked on a show together.
Nice.
And then it kind of like stopped for me a little bit because I'm trying to like get my finances a little bit back in order. Get my finances in order. And then we got lucky that we got to do the Brea Improv together.
Nice.
And that was kind of that was brought up the spark again, but then it kind of like it came back to me. I was like, damn, I gotta fucking pay these fucking credit cards off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
so like I'm just trying to find, and he tells me all the time, oh, what mic are you hitting? I'm like, I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm I can't focus, or I'm fucking broke, because you gotta spend money on gas. You gotta buy something sometimes. So I'm like, I'm fucking broke, bro. Like I'm broke. I can't. I have to. But
I tell you, I'm not asking you to come out and buy me a drink. I'm just come out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Camaraderie of comedy.
Don't worry about it.
The camaraderie of comedy will get you over hurdles. I'm telling you. If you have a buddy that wants to do comedy with you, it's the best thing ever. Doing it alone, that's always hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you've got that determination, then it's okay. But to have a buddy with you, oh man, the jokes you write on the way
I think it's fun. It's a good hangout, you know.
A like-minded person, somebody that's in the same goal as you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one thing too, because I was hearing a podcast like last week, and it's like open mics suck regardless, right? But you have to make it fun. So like we used to do shit where we're like, hey dude, well fucking do a joke about this, or just or like or do something, or like this memorable open mic one time is that I was like one of the last comics. There was nobody else, so I was like, I'm just gonna go out there and have fucking fun, and that's usually what I tell myself before I go on stage. And I saw like my jokes weren't really working, so I was just like doing kind of like an act out from one of my jokes, and I do a spin and I fucking do a James Brown split. And I had this guy cracking up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I killed it. I fucking killed it. In my mind, I killed it because I had people cracking up.
Laughing, man.
Yeah. And
that's the
I
best.
kind of forget that's what's the point, like that's the point when you go to open mic, is just you're not there to like impress people. You're doing it for yourself and trying to work your reps out.
It is. And that's why I always tell comics, man, when they're starting out, open mic is not for you to make those comics laugh. If you do, that's a bonus. But it's to get the rhythm of the joke down, right? So you go, I have a premise, the idea of a joke, and I hear it this way. Da-da, da-da, da-da.
Yeah.
And it's for you to be on stage to hear yourself say the joke in that cadence, in that rhythm, right? It's not to make everybody laugh, because if that's your goal, then you'll be in open mics forever.
Yeah.
And never really, go to the next level.
I didn't really realize that part until like a year. So it was just like a weird epiphany. I was like, no, I'm not here for them. Like, it mainly doing an open mic is for me.
Yeah.
To work out my idea, to work out my rhythm, to see how it sounds as it's coming out of my brain.
Yeah.
And like once that happened, I was like, okay, this is why they call it the workout. This is why this is here. It's not for them. It's for me.
Yeah. I always compare it to martial arts or boxing. You're only as good as you are out of the gym, out of the dojo, right? Because you learn the fundamentals in the dojo, in the gym. You know, speed back, left, right, box. You know, you put your guard up. You know, don't go in too far. Don't come into back toe, whatever, right? But it's that practice that you do outside of that gym that makes you better, right? You can't. You go to weightlifting, right? Once a week, twice a week, right? And the 2 times you're killing it, right? But then Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday and Sunday, you don't go to the gym and you don't work out. You're only doing it those 2 days a week. You'll get with what you put into it. Exactly.
2 days.
You'll be buffed. You'll be yoked for 2 days.
Yeah.
But the rest of the week, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? So it all depends on that, on you.
I have this question because this is something that I've been running into just probably within the past couple of months. For me, I write every day. If it's not 5 to 10 minutes, I at least try to at least do 30 a day. So at least minimum for me is at least 5 to 10. Now I haven't gone up as much in the past couple of months, but I have all this digging right throughout the week for, let's say, 2 weeks. I'll hit an open mic, right? This is what I'm running into. I have so many things on paper, and I only have 5 minutes for this open mic.
Yeah,
I get it. I should go. I should go out and do more open mics. Maybe that's the key too. But like, how do you what do you think I should I can do to battle that? Okay,
I know it sounds easier said than done.
No, of course.
But if you do have 30 premises, 30 ideas, right, and you've kind of somewhat wrote them out. You're like, and the dog went to the store, right? And that's the premise and stuff. And you're like, yeah, that's funny, Then literally go through and pick the ones that you like the best, because it will happen. If you have 30 of them, 5 are going to be, I like that one. Yeah, that's the one. Then those are the ones you want to try on stage. But open mics again are for you,
right?
And the cadence. And the way that the joke is said, and it's also, that is your valuable time. So let's say that you go every Wednesday to this particular open mic, right? And you go there, and it's 5 minutes every time. Then out of those 30, take the 5 that you want to do and work on those 5. And give yourself a month, because, four Wednesdays out of the month,
right?
Typically, right? So on that first Wednesday, try those first 5, and then the ones that hit out of the 5, go back and try the 2 that killed or did really good, and then out of those 2, formulate them on the 3rd week, and go, okay, now I'm going to write more about this particular joke, and then create it.
Wow.
So by the fourth week, you'll have a joke about dogs driving cars, or whatever. So that's suggestion only, man. That's what I think.
Right.
It always works best that way. Process of elimination of all those jokes that you have, and then figure out the best 5 out of the 30. Because it's weird, man. When you're writing that much, which I commend you, brother, keep doing that, because it's a great mental practice. Because what happens is, right, somebody early in my career taught me about the fictitious invisible shelf, right? Behind you on stage is this shelf. And you have all these jokes that you've written throughout the years, right? One day, it always happens. You're in a set at a book show that you're getting paid for, whatever, and you go, and the guy's like, yeah, like the Raiders, just an example. And you're like, oh, in your mind, I wrote a joke about Raiders.
Oh, yeah. I got one.
Yeah. And then, yeah. And then they, oh, you like losers, huh? Oh, whatever. You know? And so you throw that in there. But those 30 jokes that you're writing every week, right? They're in there because when you're an open mic and you go, and you know, people, man, are bad drivers, man. You know what I mean? Like, for example, my dog, he drives my car, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That will fit in there.
Yeah.
So none
good.
of these are trash, dude. So out of the 30, pick the 5 that speak to you. They go, yeah, that makes me laugh. Because that's our first audience is ourselves.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I tell all my students that, hey, man, what
makes you
what makes
laugh?
it funny to you?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's real.
Yeah.
You know, or they go, dude, it just came to me and I just thought that's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's cool how that happens where like you'll be writing something, like I'll be writing something and I internally laugh, but also not my internal laugh. I also like laugh out loud, like
Yes.
like
Those are keepers.
this is great.
Those
and
are
then I'll
keepers.
try it, but sometimes just me being me, I'll be like, it's not gonna work. But then I go and try it out, and it does really well, and I'm like,
legs,
that's silly. Why is that funny? Like,
Yeah,
why,
and that's the thing is that there's sometimes, having your mom shave your back
Uh-huh.
kind of thing. It's not everybody doesn't have that experience, but the visual of that is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think that's what there's sometimes in audiences, right? Especially if there's open mics, the majority is comics, right? If you're lucky, you get an audience, right? And it all resonates with them. And you're like, why is that funny? And it could be the visual.
yeah.
Right? Or it could be a similar situation, but theirs went that way. And then, like, dude, I shaved my chest, a lot of chest hair, right? That comic.
Yeah.
And so the back is just the same thing. Oh, it's hilarious, right? So that somehow resonates with those people. Dude, I've seen comics defeated going up to the mic on open mics and on book shows. Just defeated. They're already defeated themselves when they walk up there. And their delivery's off and everything. And they're just in their mind. If they could speak to the audience, they'd go, this is not funny. It's just an idea I have. And it's not going to make you laugh. Okay. Like, they're already defeated. So when you go to open mics, when you do a book show, go with the intention of, yeah, this is going to do great. I know it sounds very guru-ish, comedy guru-ish, but it's the truth, man. If you're defeated already and you walk up there with that mentality, guess what? The universe, whatever, is going to say, your wish is my command, man.
Yeah,
that's
true.
You will get what you get back. But it's hard. Life happens. Right? You had a bad day at work being a PE.
Right.
So it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're dealing with all that, but there's something about, it sounds old school, man, but kind of centering yourself before you leave that car, before you go into the open mic. You know what I mean? And if you go and you see a lot of comics there, you're like, all right, this got potential. Or you see 3 comics in the audience and you're like, shit, nobody's here. Great. I'll just work on the cadence. I'll work on the delivery. You know what I mean? But you do have to have that mindset that whatever happened at work, whatever happened at home.
And that's hard.
It is.
It's very hard.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
But you do have to try to program yourself in that way that when you're heading out to these open mics, that you're thinking that way.
Yeah, and that's another key to it too, is to turning things off and then turning things on. Right, like turning your character on, or say you're in a lull going to a book show or whatever, and like you have to perform. You're an entertainer. You're going in front of people and entertaining them. As weird as that is, you are doing that. But that's your job to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what
there's a reason why you're there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I always tell comics, man. Even if you're doing an open mic or a book show, you better bring it like it's a show.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, so here's one. Okay. You know what I mean? You're not there for show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's okay if you've got to look at your notes during an open mic. Book show, my old school way, no.
Right.
I've seen dudes. I saw a dude. I opened up for War and Tierra and Malo and
that's cool.
At the Summerfest, right? And they had a comic the night before, so I got to attend that. Watched him, and he literally goes, "All right, that's not working. Okay." He flipped his notebook back in the day,
right?
And he flipped his notebook, and I was like, because I was always taught that's just a no. Like, you're a book show, you better have it memorized or some general idea. Of what
people are there. They paid money to be there.
They're not going to go. Okay.
Try this one.
Yeah, and I've seen some Netflix specials where guys have gone, all right, how about this? Richard Lewis, if you want to look him up. Richard Lewis, famous, memory issues. So he'd write it all down. He would always have in his contract that he had to have a piano on stage.
Oh,
and
that's
on
cool.
the piano, you would see these notes in yellow notepad. There he is. Famous.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And he would have all of his notes plastered all over the piano. You know, Jordan Rivers the same way. She would have them on the floor. Right? So he would go and, you could say Richard Lewis notes on piano or whatever.
Oh, yeah. You see them with the piano right there.
Written
Oh, yeah, you
notes.
see them.
Yeah. But he would do that, and he would go like this. So, stand-ups, we all want to stand up. So he would go, so, yeah, that thing happened with my ex-girlfriend, and, man, it was devastating. And he would go up to the piano, and he'd lean on the piano and go, but, I got to keep the dog, or whatever, right? But he's looking at his notes.
Uh-huh.
And if you're a layman just watching comedy, in love with comedy, you're like, oh, dude's hilarious.
Yeah.
But if you're a comic and a student of comedy, you're going, he's looking at his notes.
Right.
Right? And there's famous pictures of Joan Rivers doing Vegas, right? And she'd go, yeah. Because she'd have them all written out. But that was more when she got older, because she would just reference.
Yeah.
But she's famous for writing notes. She had since the 50s, and she kept them all. And she would go, okay, I'm going to do a Hanukkah convention for Jewish people. And then she would go into her old notes from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up to 2000s. And she would pull old jokes out. Yeah, that would work. So she'd have a filing cabinet of these old notes. And she'd go, yeah. Yeah. You know, it's a trip, man. It's also, it's very, it's hard being a student of comedy and being a fan, because sometimes when I'm on the circuit, I'm famous for this, bro. Like comics that I've mentored and try to help out, I'll go, that's Richard Lewis. That's Paul Mooney. Like, but I've got to be cool with that comic, because that would piss somebody off. Me going,
Right.
oh, that's so and so. But being a student, I've learned that that there's comics now that have said stuff, and I've been like, that's so and so, man. There was a comic, right, recently, and he did one of Bobby Lee's old jokes, right? Bobby Lee would say, what do you call, I can't remember, but it's something similar to this. What do you call a drive-by on some Korean people. A cappuccino.
Right.
That was his whole joke.
I've heard.
but-
he
but-
wrote that.
Yes,
I've heard since I was a child.
Exactly. So
Uh-huh.
you it's like you have to go. Well, I should say this. Bobby Lee made it famous,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But I was in the rooms when Bobby was doing that joke.
That's cool.
So when I've heard it maybe 3 times now in different open mics and different shows. And I've been like, and one comic I know very well that I've mentored, I go, can't do that. That's Bobby Lee's joke. I know, but it sounds, I go, no, there's no, I know. He's done it, and he's done it on television, so he wins. The old school way, right? We used to say, if you do it on television first, you win, right? That you're the winner. So Netflix special, some kind of podcast special, whatever, you win.
What's going on now is the popularity of internet memes. Those are bleeding into
People's
the
comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm just even me because I feel I'm a fan of comedy, and also I'm on the internet a long time, like all day. I feel like it, and I see memes throughout the day, and then when we used to run our open mic or go to an open mic, and you hear somebody's like punchline, dude, I just seen that on a meme today.
And you look at each other like they really think they can get away with that,
right?
Or it's an act out. Right on TikTok,
right,
and you see it.
But the premise,
right, and then they put words to it, so to speak,
right,
or they take that.
It's the idea, the IP, right, the intellectual property of that specific premise or joke is from the internet, and you took it out on. And you're on the stage and used it as your own
in the format of a joke. Right. That is. Look, man, until there's consequences, people will keep doing it. And I mean this, in the old school way, we all stood up for each other, right? And one comic would go, hey, that's so-and-so's joke, man. That's Charles Sanchez's joke, bro. You shouldn't do that, And we would all kind of defend each other. Now it seems like the comedy circuit is just cutthroat. Like, I want to get to the finish line. I want to get to the big bite of the apple. I want that. So whatever. If he's doing it, great. I used to do this joke, man. Sorry, I used to do this joke, and I said I took my dad to go see The Lion King, the play. And he loved it because he thought it was in Spanish. And we were walking out, and he goes, oh, he loved it. It's in Spanish. I go, Dad, it's not in Spanish, man. And he goes, yes, it is. He goes, you remember when he was holding up the little lion? And the punchline is this. Que la chingada. Pinche tu madre, güey. Órale. Right? Well, some comic stole that joke. And so I had about 3 or 4 comics come up to me at the Ice House back in the day and go, hey, man, so-and-so's doing your joke, right? And then I was like, what? Really? Like, that's signature me, right? So he goes and comes up to me at the Ice House one day. And he goes, Charles, man, I'm getting a lot of shit for doing this joke, man, because it sounds very similar to yours. And I was wondering if I can do it tonight on stage so you can see and to see if there's any similarities. And I go, sure. Now, I was like 9th on the list of 10, right? And he was 4th. So I knew the guy that was booking the show. And I go, hey, make a switch? He's like, sure. So I go and do mine first, right? The joke I just did. I did it and it just killed. It was great, right? And then he was there, and I got off stage, and he goes, oh, well, I was going to do mine. And I go, oh, yeah, no, it's my joke. So, like that. And he goes, okay. So he did his, and the audience was like, what? Like, that's like the guy. So he comes on, he goes, hey, what'd you think? And I go, yeah, man, it sounds just like mine. Even the punchline is very, very, very similar. And I go, but you know what, man? Keep doing it. And he goes, what? He flipped out. He goes, what? Are you serious? I go, yes, keep doing it. I said, because every time you do it, they're going to think of me. And he stopped doing it. But see, back in the day, there's no consequences now.
Yeah.
So memes and all that kind of stuff, and then they're formatting them into a joke style or whatever, and you're like, you guys know because you know on the internet for so many hours, you're watching everything. But these guys think that they can get away with it until there's a consequence of that.
And it's so hard too because there's it's not only just stand-ups doing their own material. It's internet meme people doing their own jokes. There's so much out there. I feel like. I would like to get your perspective on this. Do you think that? I guess there's two things, right? Because stand-up is so accessible now to a lot of people, but also, do you think that it's a little bit harder now because of that? Because there's a lot of comedy, right?
With all these different formats of comedy, yes, I think you guys have it very hard. Just without raising your hand, just say your age range: 20s. 30s?
30, mid-30s.
30s?
30s,
yeah. So you guys right now, at this time, it's so hard because you're trying to be original, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got that guy.
Dude.
This guy, you know?
Yeah. I get ideas and I'm just like, this is too easy. This can't work. This is too easy.
Yeah.
I'll literally Google it and I see nothing and I'm just like, no. Like I don't want to be that guy. You know, like I don't want to be that guy doing this is this person's joke. But I try to do
your
that.
diligence of researching it.
Right. Because I feel, to me, I'm just like, this is too
It writes
easy.
itself.
This is too easy.
Yeah.
Somebody has to do this. No, I can't.
Yeah.
It can't just be me. It has to be somebody else.
Yeah.
But it sometimes you have to do that if it comes, like even now, because there's so much out there. So much out there.
You have my phone number now. If ever either of you get into that funk where you're like, I know this has been done before.
I'm gonna send you my whole set.
Yeah, really. I'm that student, man, that can go. That's Robin Williams in '78. In San Francisco. I'm weird like that. I don't know why, but I retain all that comedy, stand-up comedy stuff.
I've come across that. Where it was two Latino comics coming up around the same time. I heard their joke because I think it was in the Lion King's a comedy special or somebody's special, and then I heard somebody's early work in like the early 90s. And it was like 10 years apart. These two shows 10 years apart, and I watched one and I was like, "No, wait, hold on."
Yeah.
And then I Googled the other set, and I was like, "Oh my god, did I just like whose is this?" And I think I told you about it once I found out, and I told you. I was like, "No way!" I felt like I was like an agent, FBI agent. I was like, "Oh my god!" It was so weird to witness that.
Yeah.
Just, on
we've
the internet.
seen it too. The old school guys that have 25 plus years in, 30 years in. We've seen it all. So when guys go, dude, I got this great joke, and then they pitch it to me, and I scan my brain of comedy, and I go, yeah. George Lopez did that back in 87. You know what I mean?
That's gonna kill me, dude. I'm gonna send you my set, and you're gonna be like, dude,
I'm like 90% of this. Exactly. Plagiarized. Whatever. But no, man, it's a trip because when you have been around for a long time, you literally know that this and that, and then sometimes there's clever dudes nowadays, right, that will go and watch a special from the 80s or 90s, right, and flip the verbiage, right, instead of like. Mailmen are like this, and then they go, dude, postal workers?
Yeah.
Because I've heard people literally change the verbiage of the joke, but it's the same premise, right? And as long as you're not verbatim, right? Because I've sorry, I was mentoring this comic right there, and he goes, "Oh, hey Charles, what's verbatim, eh? And
It was me. It was me.
Did you? Are you serious?
No.
That sounds like something you would say too.
He's like, what's verbatim? And I go, and in the simplest terms, right? Because this dude, man,
Yeah.
Middle school education, prison life, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay. I said, it's basically word for word. That was my best way of explaining it.
It's like, then say that, dude. Say that, Charles.
No, really. When I started mentoring this dude, he would always, ask me about words. Because, I'm so used to being an educator trying to teach people
That's
comedy that the way my speech is sometimes, sometimes I will have to, lower it a little.
Yeah.
Dumb it down.
Yeah.
Dumb it
I didn't
down.
want to say
Dumb it
that,
down.
but yeah. I was like, it means when two people get together and the penis goes into the vagina. Oh, is that what that means? But no, man, it's like if it's verbatim, then that's theft,
Oh yeah.
right? But the old school comics hear a similar premise and it's a different punchline, or the punchline is similar but different wording. We go, yeah. Like we know because we were there,
Right.
because damn well if there was a guy who goes, so I was at my house, right, and I jizzed on my cat's head, and my cat was there, and I'm coked up, and I'm doing this, it's like I was there when Joey did that,
Yeah.
right? I was there, so they can't take that away from us in the old school,
Yeah.
But it's hard, man. It's like the Mummy, right? He was around thousands and thousands of years ago, and now he's being alived again, right? And then he sees similar stuff going on. He's like, "What's going on over there?" It's like that because we've been around for so long. We know the history. We've seen that joke formatted. We've seen it when it was just a premise or an idea, and then it just became this brilliant, genius joke.
Right.
It's kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time because we've been around so long, we've heard it all. And I was. Everybody knows Danny Lopez, right? You guys had him on the show. I love that dude, man. And famous story. Danny, I was running an open mic in Long Beach, and it was probably the third weekend, and this kid goes up and he just kills for 3 minutes, and I was like, this dude. So his friend goes to smoke a cigarette outside. Danny Lopez goes outside with them, and I go outside, and I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome, like that. And he was like, thanks a lot, man. I go, what, 3-4 years in comedy? He goes, no, this is my very first time. I go, you're kidding me, like that. I said, you're coming with me. And he goes, where? And I was like, hey, dude, I've got a show for Narcotics Anonymous. I do a lot of that stuff. Like this, I've been doing 16 years in a row. The Machna convention out in Yuma, Arizona. And I told Danny, hey, I own in Long Beach, and I want you to do I said, I'll pay you $50. And he was like, so my second show that I'm ever going to do is going to be a paid show for $50? And he goes, oh, so what do you want me to? I said, just the 3 minutes you did here, that's all I want.
Wow.
I said, I just want to expose you to people, an audience. He was like, okay. So there's about 100 people in there. Danny goes, very nervous. He's does anybody remember Oso, the comedian Oso?
Yes. Yeah. I do.
Good. Well, Oso was alive then, and Oso was on the show, and then somebody else was on the show, and I think at that time I had I think it was Roberto Rodriguez was there too. So he had some heavy hitters on the show. And so Danny goes up and he's nervous as hell. And I'm telling him, just relax, man. Just all these people are recovering drug addicts, right? They've seen it all. So whatever you say, Danny, nothing's going to make them go like that. He goes, okay. So he was nervous, and he probably did like 2 minutes and 59 seconds. And he was like, thank you very much. Thank you. And they all laughed, and he got huge applause and stuff. And he was like, he's all sweating and stuff like that. And from that day on, I just took him with me everywhere.
That's cool.
And paid him. And I told him one day, this does not happen. You're literally going to have to pay your dues before you even get paid.
Yeah.
I go, to get a paid spot is like a miracle, right? When you're first starting out. And I go, so just know that. So then other people saw him on my shows and would go, hey, Danny, I want to book you in, right? And then Danny would go, hey, man, that guy didn't pay me. I told you. It's not how it works, dude. Like, I go, but, and then I tell you guys this too, all the people that are coming up, starting out. If there's no pay, you have to ask in advance. And the best way to do it, check this out, I'm giving away my secrets. You say to the comic, hey, Gil, man, I want to book you, man. I want to, doing a show in San Bernardino, and you got to drive yourself out there and stuff like that. Cool. Okay. Here's the best way to ask. Is it a paid gig? You say, so what's the budget? It's like incognito on the DL, right? Because they're like, dude, there's no budget. You're not getting paid. It's giving you opportunity. I love that when comics say that. It's an opportunity, man, in front of a big audience.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. They can pay you if they want to, but they don't. That's why I paid Danny from the get, because I wanted to say, this art, what you're doing is valuable, right? And I pay. But I had the opportunity to pay. I had the budget to pay. Right. There was times when we did shows, I'm like, Danny, this is just a favor that I'm doing for that guy, but I have you tailing along with me to do the show. So we're both not getting paid. And he's cool. I understand. I said, and doing favors for this guy is going to help you get on that show, which is a big budget. Right. So the question is always, so what's the budget?
What's the budget?
Yeah. And typically it's when you're in the game, maybe over 5 years, then you can ask that question. But the righteous comics that are booking shows would go, hey, man, there's no pay, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where the bitching part comes in. I've had comics go, dude, I did 15 minutes, I did 10 minutes, and the guy never paid me, man. And they took payment at the door. Everybody paid $20 a ticket and said, did you ask the question ahead of time? No. Then you have no room to bitch. You have to just accept it. But you can ask that question now, 3-4 years in, right?
Yeah.
Hey man, is there a budget? No. Okay. Yeah, there is. I can give you $25. Accept it or not accept it.
Right.
Right. But no room to bitch later.
Yeah.
You go, no, man. So yeah, that's the secret. You always want to do it.
Secret phrase. What's a budget?
Yeah. Get the hell out of here. You know
Get
Charles
the
Sanchez?
fuck out of here.
What are you,
Verbatim.
crazy?
What's verbatim? What's that?
This is verbatim.
Verbatims. Can I get a horchata, please?
Charles, dude, this was awesome. Thanks for coming out and doing the podcast. Love to have you again.
Yeah.
Love to have you again in the next couple weeks. Go ahead and tell us where we can find you, what you have coming up, all that good stuff.
You know what, man? I'm at the Charles Sanchez on all the social media platforms, YouTube included. There's a character I do. His name is Uncle Ray. You've seen him?
Yeah.
Uncle Ray is he's got his own his own Instagram page now. I'm Uncle Ray. I think it's called. And so as far as finding me, I'm kind of all over. I'm kind of chill on up until the new year, and then I'm doing Arizona, and I'm doing Chicago, and I'm doing up in Fresno, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I'm kind of like chilling for Christmas and stuff like that. I don't want to really go out because we've all the old school comics have done their series of Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve shows. New Year's Eve typically pays great, you know what I mean? But you got to be away from your family and stuff. That's more valuable to me now. So, but yeah, just follow me.
Awesome.
Oh, by the way, that picture right there, that picture of me, that's my first headshot in color.
Whoa! Yeah. In color?
In color. I love it. My hand was huge. And I told the dude that was taking a picture, I was like, dude, my hand looks huge. He was like, nah, it's just a camera.
This is cameraman. Thank you.
Yeah.
Make my hands look big, please.
Could you go bigger? Could you go bigger with your hand? Yeah, old school, man. So, but yeah, the classes, I love teaching the classes, man, and that's going to be at the Stand-Up Comedy Club. The projection is starting back in January.
Okay.
And stuff. So
Nice.
And then I always tell people that
The Mind Buzz Podcast.
find a sponsor or whatever.
Right. All right. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. And we're out.